Many seek the path to victory, but only one can stand glorious over all. From the Badlands come the orcs and goblins, a green tide of brutal creatures that must be stopped.
Hello and welcome to another Total War Warhammer guide. Today we start our escapades with the Greenskin army, and we're going to start off with one of the big daddies of them all. His name is Grimgor Ironhide. He's a black orc, which are sort of the strongest, toughest breed of orcs. He is a big boss. He is pretty much unmatched when it comes to close quarters fighting. The axe is just ridiculously massive. Unlike a lot of characters that you can actually mount on a horse or a barded horse, or if the Empire is going to be a Pegasus or a Griffin or all that sort of stuff, he has to fight on foot. So that's the only sort of disadvantage of him. But he is an absolute beast. So let's have a look at his stats. First off, we can see he's armoured. You can kind of tell that by looking at him. Also, he's armour piercing, meaning that he can take down heavily armoured troops, and he's an expert in close quarters fighting. So he's just an absolute beast. You want this guy at your front line. We'll go into more detail of how you actually use him afterwards. He's got 110 armour, which is ridiculously high. He's got good leadership, very good leadership for an orc. Orcs aren't known really for their leadership. 38 pace, so he's not too bad on the speed. His attack and defence, his attack is huge, defence is half decent, his weapon strength is 450, which is ridiculously high, and his, obviously with the armour piercing, helps even more, and he's got a decent charge bonus. So let's look at his actual sort of special abilities. First off, he's got missile resistance, like all lone characters. He's got encourage, which means bonus to leadership to all units in and around him. He can hide in the forest. He's not going to hide. He's immune to psychology, which is really helpful. If you're facing, say, Karl Franz, who's the Emperor of the Empire, who rides Deathclaw the Griffin, which causes terror, he couldn't give less of a shit about it, basically. He's not going to break and any of that sort of thing. So he's got his abilities are, he's got an augment called Foe Seeker, which he casts on himself, lasts for 12 seconds. It gives him a charge bonus, a speed bonus, and a vigor bonus. So this is as just before you go into combat, a couple of seconds before, hit that and go in hard. And then the next one is Stand Your Ground, which is another augment. It casts on itself, but it affects him and all allies within a 40-metre radius, and it improves their leadership, their attack and defence, and it lasts for 11 seconds. So this is when both armies have, you know, that sort of as they've lined up and they've clashed together and all the front line is fighting, this is when you hit that stand your ground to really make a difference. And he's got the Wah! Now, if you don't know what the Wah is, it's basically, orcs aren't like normal other races. Most other races have reasons for fighting, and you know, whether that's to take territory or to defend themselves. Orcs and goblins, greenskins, they just love fighting. It's what they're built for. It's just how they roll. And what war is, Wah is basically it's a calling. So you'll often see these. It's almost like, you know, see animals migrating on nature programs. It's kind of like that. They sense it, they feel it, and these massive groups of orcs tribes of orcs will get together to form this massive army every now and then and go on this rampage, which is called a Wah. Okay, so this is the Wah ability. It's got 10 seconds. It casts himself on itself, and it affects all units within a 40-metre radius. The biggest thing, your troops will do a ton more damage, plus 34 more damage and a little bit of extra leadership. So, as you'd expect, what we're going to do now is, now we've had a good look at him, is just use him in a little combat, basically just sort of see his abilities, and we'll talk about how you would go about using him in a full battle. This is just a little skirmish game against a couple of units, some poor unfortunate, I think I've made them archers. They normally go down there, so we'll wander over to them. Well, let's charge all the way. He does look pretty spectacular. Imagine fighting that guy there. Yeah, he's kind of tough. So what do we bring? So they've got a hero and some peasant, but oh, I feel so sorry for. Okay, I'm over it. I don't feel sorry for him. Right, we're charging in. So basically the way you'd use this guy is he is front line, front and centre of your army. You want all your units around him. You want him and other units fighting the same guys so he can use those abilities that he's got to help his allies and himself as he charges in. You can also use him as a counter charge because he has that, what's it called? The Foe Seeker, which gives him that bonus as he charges in. But for me, he is just as if put him with your elite infantry troops, the frontline guys that are just going to be fighting for most of the battle, and use him as just a big sledgehammer in the middle, or in his case a massive axe. As you can see, he's not the quickest. The peasant bowmen are just about to unleash. Yep, he's like whatever. So they are. So he is armoured. So armoured units can block damage from any source apart from armour piercing, and I don't think they're armour piercing, so they're going to do very little damage. Right, so we're going to charge him in. Get a nice view. We're going to go for the Foe Seeker to give him that speed boost. The archers are going to scatter because obviously they're on a skirmish mode. Oh, the hero's going in for him, and he's going to. Oh, yeah. Should we go for the war? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, they are crapping themselves. They're already down to 58. How many did they start with? 70? Right, should we go a bit of one-on-one action with it? Take him down. Oh, it's hero on hero. We'll go for this one as well. Chuck it on. Lovely. Should we just go and cheeky charge the old archers? Surprise! Oh, he's running away! He's running away! As you can see, these are why you don't use these units. You know, they're amazing fighters, but you don't just... They're not invincible. And the biggest thing is, although he was barely taking any damage, he's fighting a hero, and he's got 2 archer units firing at him. His morale is just going to go down. That's why you don't send these guys off alone, because they just will get... They might not get killed, but they're going to get broken, which is just almost just as bad. And you're... The leader of your army, which he will be if you use him, is just the worst thing in the world. So keep him in your front line so he's not going to get overwhelmed with just enemy swarms of enemy troops. As I said, use his war ability and the other abilities to boost your allies around you, and he is an absolute monster. You know, this didn't really show it. Obviously, it's just a little skirmish thing on his own, but he is superb. Obviously, very expensive, but he's probably one of the best close combat troops in the game. His only downside is, and this is with most orcs and goblins, is his leadership. His morale isn't that good. They are a bit scared. They do get a little bit scared if they think they're going to lose, especially goblin units. They will flee at the drop of a hat. Right, there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little mini guide. Sorry that he ran away. Not much I could do about it. Too many units, but it gives a good example of how not to use him. So, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and like the video. I'm doing every single unit in the game. I'm just starting on my orcs now, so I've got a list of like 15 videos to make, and we're going to go through every unit, every character, just to see how they play, and some basic tactics. Then once that's done, we're going to play some campaign games, and some more advanced tactics, and even army setups. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.